Hello, everyone. It is I, the Witch of Christmas. The Witch of Paint. This week, we are beginning our little Christmas video series, as you may or may not be able to tell. We're beginning it with a not so small painting and also a not so uncomplicated painting. This took me around 3.5 hours to paint, but that's just painting, not waiting for everything to dry. You're all spared of that waiting time. I've sped it up for you as well, so, it all comes together way faster just for you guys, because I'm nice that way. If you do wish to see me paint in real time, though, I do have streams over on Twitch, and I do upload them on here, if I remember to, on time. Things get a little messy sometimes. Anyways, it is pre-Christmas time now. That means Christmas paintings all the way, or at least winterly paintings. I haven't quite made my mind up, but this one is going to be Christmas themed. Today, on the first Advent, I give you a painting of fairies decorating an upside down Christmas tree that is hanging from their ceiling. Because it is the time where these things are, to be put up and set up and decorated. Because it's Christmas time, Some might have had their Christmas decorations up since November, who knows? But Christmas is December time. During December. That's for me, anyway. Now, you may be wondering why I am letting the Christmas tree hang upside down from the ceiling in my painting. Well, somewhere in the depths of my memories in my brain, I had stored the information that hanging a Christmas tree from the ceiling was some sort of old tradition that also simultaneously saved space in your home as well. And so I kind of looked up Christmas trees hanging from the ceiling, and then I realised that what I had in mind, which was a tree hanging from the ceiling right side up, so from the tip, that was not quite correct, because you're supposed to have it hanging from the trunk, upside down, with the tip facing the floor, which at first looked a little bit odd to me, but I quickly got used to it, and I kind of feel like it's very, very fun. And really all you would need for this kind of Christmas tree is a very strong ceiling hook, which I think we don't have in this house. I don't remember seeing any hooks in the ceilings at all. But, if you have one that's strong enough to hold a tree without, breaking the ceiling and making everything come down onto you, that's very fun. It's very fun, the tradition of hanging your Christmas tree from a ceiling upside down. As for me, my real tree, well, it's not a real tree, but you get what I mean. My tree, the tree that my family puts up around Christmas times, won't be hanging upside down from a ceiling. It's just going to be standing right side up in the living room somewhere, I believe. I think that's how we did it last year. Who knows? Maybe this year will be different. I don't know. It'll be just as beautiful, though. Maybe not quite as, fun as having a Christmas tree hanging upside down from the ceiling. I still can't get over that. I love it. Anyways, aside from the upside down tree and the fairies decorating it, I also added some detail to the surroundings of them, obviously, because a tree is not the only thing that's going to be there to decorate your Christmas room, I guess, or Christmas house. My plan was for this to be a kind of view of a room that was being decorated by these fairies overall. And I wanted the ceiling in view because I wanted the tree roots to be seen, because it's kind of growing into the ceiling, or out of the ceiling rather. That was kind of my idea, but it also kind of just looks kind of glued to the ceiling in the end, but it's supposed to be growing out of it. Maybe I should have put some cracks in the ceiling, but that would have made everything look a little bit unsafe. And I didn't want that. I wanted this to be homely and warm and Christmassy, Underneath the tree, I drew a table, also with tree roots, to kind of mirror the tree above it, but not quite as attention-grabbing because it's right side up the table. On top of this table, I placed a candle wreath with a candle burning, since it is the first Advent after all. The other three are going to be out to showcase that this is for the first Advent, Maybe I'll do that as a sort of gimmick for all the paintings during the Christmas season. Just have one more candle burning every week. I think that would be fun. We'll see what I come up with. Alongside that, I placed some of my favourite Christmas treats, that being Lebkuchen hearts, Stollen, and some cinnamon stars. Some of these I haven't had in a very long time, because they are only available in Germany or somewhere around Germany. And some of them I can't find, you know? Others I can find in German supermarkets, so I'm not suffering too much without them. But to have cinnamon stars again. Oh well. On all 3 walls that are in view, I placed a window and a few wreaths made of, greenery, evergreens, and I think I wanted to add red berries, but then I forgot about them. I didn't remember to add them. Left and right, you've got the round window with a cross in the middle, and the window behind the fairies I decided to make in a sort of natural, branchy kind of look. So the cross sections are just kind of wobbly and crossing over each other. I was trying to kind of give the idea of tree branches in that window, just because I thought it would be fun. And I also placed, in both the corners that are visible, a tree that is kind of coming up, and then the branches go to 2 sides. I know I should have technically drawn more branches, but I just decided to draw those 2 as kind of like a border, so they're like kind of forming some of the foundation of the house. That was kind of the idea behind that. On top of those branches, I also placed some snow, because it's winter, and I kind of thought, let's add a little bit of something. Just add a little bit of pizzazz. And below, around them, I also placed some fairy lights, and I didn't remember that is what they are called, but that's an accidental thing that goes well with the theme of fairies in this painting. And then, aside from the tree, there's also some little baubles and snowflakes and stars hanging from hooks on the ceiling. I just thought it would be a nice little thing. I also added some star ornaments hanging from the tree roots. There's so much going on in this painting. Not quite as much as the autumn fairies, but these guys are getting close. As for the fairies themselves, I themed them after some of the evergreens that become popular around about this time. So the fairy on the very right is themed after holly, the one in the middle is a mistletoe, and the one hanging up Christmas wreaths is themed after a fir tree, so a Christmas tree. They were sketched rather quickly, and because they are so small, they don't look particularly neat either, but I don't mind that one bit. It gives the painting a certain charm, I'd say. I think you can tell, kind of, that after all of the zodiac fairies I recently painted, even if they were enjoyable, I was particularly excited to draw something that wasn't happening at night time, that was bright and colourful and not dark and muted. I mean, as fun as my last few zodiac fairies were, this one just had me so excited, and because December is just a special time of year, Now, since I was drawing an upside-down Christmas tree, I was also wondering how this tradition came to be in the first place. I kind of remember it being a thing kind of in eastern parts of Germany and Europe in general, but I wasn't sure what was going on beyond that. So, let's dive into possible histories behind the upside-down Christmas tree. One begins in Germany in the 7th century with a Benedictine monk named Boniface. I'm German and I don't know how to pronounce that. He was tired of seeing pagans worshipping an oak tree. Oh, how dare they! So he hung up a triangular fir tree in his home to explain the godly trinity to them. However, this is more of a myth, I think. Or at least a legend. At least everyone keeps calling it a legend or a myth, so it's not really confirmed if that's where it really came from, and I kind of doubt it because... I mean, sure, there would have been people who didn't like pagans worshipping their things, but I would say the whole Christmas tradition mixing just kind of happened more naturally, Just people going, oh, this is nice. That's what I think. But that's just my thoughts and not based in fact. In a Polish tradition called Podniczka, I hope I pronounced that right. I probably didn't. I'm sorry, Polish people. They would hang a branch or tip of evergreen from the ceiling and decorate that with some, your typical nuts, fruits, whatever you've got to decorate. But it was never a whole tree, but the tree could have perhaps evolved from that tradition, as it is quite an Eastern tradition today in Europe. So, Eastern Europe kind of does it. So, as I said, my personal theory is someone thought it would be funny. Someone else saw the upside-down Christmas tree and thought, that's so fun and cool, I'll do that too. And then the tradition spreads from that. But that's just my thoughts and my personal theory. It's not based in any facts. It's just, I kind of feel like that's something humans would do. Do it for the funsies. I mean, nowadays, some people do it for the funsies, because why not? And throughout the 19th century, the upside-down Christmas tree was very common in, as I've said, Eastern Europe, especially for the lower classes, as they didn't have enough space for a Christmas tree and also the presents and the table and everything. So just suspending it in the air saved great amounts of space for them in their homes so that they could have the presents and gifts right underneath it, or maybe even their food, depending on how badly the tree shed the pine needles. Let's maybe not put the food underneath though. Depends. That is also kind of what I heard about in my younger years. Like when I was a little kid, at some point in some show in Germany, I heard about this tradition of hanging up a Christmas tree from a ceiling to save space. That's where I knew this thing from. But at the time, I wasn't aware that you're supposed to hang it upside down. I always pictured it hanging from the tip of a tree, though now that I think about it, kind of makes sense to have it from a tree trunk because that's a little bit wider and you're not putting all the strain on the thin branch on the top of a tree. You're putting it in the sturdy trunk that's used to carrying all the branches anyway. Oh my goodness, I have talked so long and so much that I'm not going to be able to talk about the rest of the painting now. At least not for long. Right, let's try and get to that. First thing I did was to start out with an underpainting in lemon yellow and then some Indian yellow around the windows and the walls. Then came the fir tree in red, which you may have already seen. I used Madeleine Deep for that, I believe. The trees around it got a sort of blue underpainting, probably with phthalo blue, a little bit of ultramarine, and some leftover indigo from the last painting. There's a lot to talk about, but the fairy lights, I dropped a bunch of different colours for their lighting because they are going to be very colourful rainbow lights. Inside the windows, I dropped some blue because I kind of wanted it to be sort of dark outside, you know. My underpaintings are a little bit all over the place with this painting, but it's fine. I worked in different sections at different times, so the fairies are the last to receive any sort of underpainting while I'm already starting to add proper colour to the other areas, but just trust the process, okay? Once I was satisfied with the colour, I mixed a few of my greens together. Not sure which ones anymore though. I have a lot of greens and mixed so many shades. Don't ask me. The tree trunks in the corners were done with a mix of, my browns, burnt umber, sepia, burnt sienna, a little bit of light red oxide somewhere in there as well. Ugh, there's so much to talk about with this painting. I can't get everything in here now, which is kind of sad. The last thing I did was add a bunch of metallic watercolours because what's a Christmas painting without some glitter? I added that around the baubles, the stars, some of the little things that I highlighted. I think I added it on the snow, and the fairy lights got some as well because I wanted them to be shiny and they weren't shiny enough, so I just added some different coloured metallic watercolours to those. I didn't splash any watercolours though this time, which is kind of weird for me, but I didn't feel like it was necessary with this one. Plus I'd already spent an entire day painting on it, which is probably why I've got too much to talk about with this painting. I know I really rushed through that in the end, but there was just too much to talk about with this. I did add the proper, colours, and you've probably already seen it all, so let's just move on to the final result together, okay? So, the tape is removed. Let's talk about this. So, aside from upside down Christmas trees, I also let my rather big obsession with fairies inspire parts of this painting, as you may or may not be able to tell. This one was also a lot of fun to paint, even if it took me an entire day to just finish it, because in between all of those layers I had to wait for it to dry. So even if in the end I only had 3.5 hours of footage, I did take an entire day working on this. Breaks for lunch not included. Anyway, I love this painting so much. It came out almost exactly how I wanted it to. Sure, some of this perspective on the refs was not so great, but I'm working on it, you know. Then there's also, you know, it gives me some Christmas vibes. It's starting to get there, you know, Christmas, just a kind of very inspiring time for me. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching me paint this as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, of course, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, check out my social media links down below, and have a very lovely pre-Christmas season, everyone. For the time being, I am the Witch of Paint, and I should see you all next Sunday. Bye! Ho, ho, ho! Look who's made it to the end of the video. Very well done. I do have some things here for you to just listen to as the video is kind of finishing off, wrapping up. Some small little outtakes, so enjoy them. Oh, hiccups. Underneath a tape. Underneath a tree, not underneath a table. That's what I meant. One beginning in Germany in the 7th century with a Benedictine. I got this. For the time being, I am the Witch of Paint, and I shall see... and I missed that out. I shall see you.